I was gonna say they look pretty good from up here.
Pretty.
I think when I initially saw
Yeah. It would have been. They look like they could come along by now. Okay, we ready?
Yes.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to your City Commission meeting. Please turn off all cell phones during the meeting. We'll begin with a Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent meditation. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is National Farmers Market Week. We have Mr. Bill Cromer, who is, are you the president of the Farmers Market? Okay, president of the Farmers Market. Whereas farmers markets are important nationwide outlets for agricultural producers, providing them with increased marketing opportunities. And whereas the Leavenworth Farmers Market, along with thousands of other farmers markets across the country, offer consumers farm-fresh, affordable, convenient, and healthful products, such as fruits, vegetables, cheeses, herbs, flowers, baked goods, meat, and much more. And whereas farmers markets serve an integral link among urban, suburban, and rural communities. Whereas the Leavenworth Farmers Market offers electronic benefits transfer technology for use by the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program recipients in redeeming their benefits, and offers opportunities for senior citizens participating in the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. Whereas the United States Department of Agriculture strongly supports and promotes the development, operation, and expansion of farmers markets and other direct-to-consumer marketing activities for agricultural producers. Now therefore, I, Nancy Bowder, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, do hereby recognize farmers markets and the contributions farmers make to daily life in America, giving notice to our citizens that the week of August 6 through 12, 2017 is Leavenworth Farmers Market Week. I think she's taking a picture. You got it. You got it.
Got it,
Good.
okay.
Thank you. I'd like to say a few words, sir.
Always. Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, commissioners and the city staff and all you folks who support the farmers market, because I can tell you, we do get great support from the city. And I think I've seen all the commissioners come through the market at least once this year, if not more. So we do appreciate that. And by the way, I've been invited to the governor's office to receive the state of Kansas proclamation for August being farmers market. And I'll be there Friday morning to accept the proclamation from the governor. You know, it takes three things to make a good market. It takes a good venue, and we've got a venue that's the envy of farmers markets all around the country. Haymarket Square, the pavilion, the restroom facilities, the parking. It really is when we go to market meetings and all, we start showing our pictures, we are an envy to have that kind of a facility. It takes good customers, and I can tell you our numbers are growing. If you were there Saturday morning, you probably had a hard time finding a place to park, because we are seeing that kind of structure. And it takes good vendors. We are a producer-only market. All of our vendors come within a 35-mile radius of Leavenworth. And all of them are willing to stand and talk to any customer about how they produce their product. All the customers have to do is ask the question. Sometimes they don't even have to ask. We tell them anyway. But we encourage people to talk to them. And I think we provide another service that really not well understood. the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the SNAP program, which is the old food stamp program. At our market, if they bring their vision card, their SNAP card, and they purchase $25 of SNAP tokens, we give them another $25. So in effect, on Saturday and Wednesday, they can get $50 additional for their SNAP program. And we've really had some difficulty getting the word out on that so that the people come and use it, because we got a grant. There were 68 markets went together in Leavenworth or in Kansas and Missouri to get that grant. And we've got money in it, and we'd sure like to use it. We also take the senior nutrition program. That's low-income seniors that get 6 $50 or $5 checks that they can spend only for fresh fruits and vegetables. Our sponsors in the market match those checks with a $5 token that they can buy anything we have in the market to sell. So that's another benefit they have if they'll come and use our market. And each Saturday morning, Catholic Social Services this year show up to pick up any of the produce that's left over. And they gave us a slip that said we gave over 300 pounds last month in June. Well, I can tell you Saturday morning, we gave 100 pounds at least Saturday morning, and so we still got the whole month of July to go. So none of the food gets thrown away. It's going to help the people that need it, and we really thank you for the opportunity to do that here in Leavenworth, and our thanks to the people who support it, and thank you very much, and thank you for the proclamation.
Well, Mr. Cromer, thank you, and the farmers market is such a great asset to our community. Thank you again for all your hard work.
Thank you.
My wife and I had a nice dinner of sweet corn we got there last weekend, and some tomatoes.
Yes, that's good.
But sorry to report to you, those will be the last tomatoes I buy from you, because mine are coming in now. I'll be back next year, but I can eat my own.
You probably bought your plants from us.
Probably.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Next item on the agenda, old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move to accept the minutes from June 27th, 2017, regular meeting, July 18th, 2017, special meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Rainey.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, consider the CW Carousel Museum sign request.
New business.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Next item on the agenda is citizens' participation. Are there any citizens that care to speak tonight about any items that are not on the agenda or receipt of petition? Seeing none, we'll move on. Okay. Now, general items. Consider the CW Museum sign request.
Tony, do you want to come on up? Madam Mayor and Commission, a couple months ago now, Leavenworth County Commissioner Clyde Graber approached me about coming to the Commission and presenting a proposal to put a sign commemorating the C.W. Parker Carousel Museum on city property, Ray Miller Park, where we have a lot of our recognition signs. Tony Baker, the chairman of the steering committee, is here tonight. Mr. Graber could not make it. I want to just have a discussion tonight with the commission about the sign, preliminarily or primarily about two items. One, our sign recognition policy, which is included in your packet, does not cover attractions. It only covers people. So there's some internal debate about if we go forward with the sign, maybe we need to come up with an attractions or a non-person policy going forward. The other part is, and if you see the sign, Mr. Baker has it here, and also it's included in your sign. It indicates coming to ride the Carousel Museum. That would be an advertisement, and the development regulations specifically prohibit off-site advertising. So there are no insurmountable obstacles to putting the sign up, but one would be the lack of addressing it in the sign recognition policy, and then it would require a variance from our development regulation, which prohibits off-site advertisement. So, Mr. Baker's here to talk about the sign. Any questions you have, any comments or direction for staff, and I'll just open it for the commission.
Okay. Mr. Baker, speak on this.
Well, we thought we needed to get some signage out, just recognizing C.W. Parker and all that he did to the city back in the, he started here in 1910 and went through 1955. He was the largest producer of amusement machinery in the world. He shipped stuff all over the world from that. He actually, Leavenworth became the entertainment capital of the world based upon his sales throughout the world, and from 1910 to 1941. I think probably the Convention Tourism Bureau has given you our figures and attendance figures, but I have included that in the packet. We estimate fairly conservatively that our annual visitors for tours, people just wanting to ride the carousel, people have parties and things like that, are run somewhere between 22 to 25,000 people a year, which is by far the largest attendance of any of the museums in the county, and way more than all of them combined. We do have some signs around, but we're always looking to publicize even more. And this is something we came up with, and one reason we put the Ride of 1913 carousel is that, there's not too many antique carousels around the countryside that you can actually ride. And of course, just the name C.W. Parker wouldn't necessarily mean too much to people coming to town, but seeing a sign that there is a carousel museum in town and that you can actually ride a carousel that's 104 years old is probably one of the main selling points of getting people, to come downtown. And of course, once they're down there, then, they eat, they buy, gas, food and all that kind of stuff. So it's, in a way, we are selling something, but at the same token, we're giving people the opportunity to ride an antique carousel that not too many communities can offer. We've got tomorrow we have a bus coming in from Iowa with about 50 people for a tour, and then Tuesday we have another bus coming in from Iowa. So we're apparently big in Iowa, and we appreciate when they come down by the busloads. And the Convention Tourism does a good job of promoting us and the other museums in town. And of course, to come and see us, we've got information racks, and we try and encourage them to go to the Carroll Mansion and Richard Allen and for sure the fort if they have time to do that. These tours that are coming in these next 2 days, they've pretty much got the whole day booked between all the museums in town. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just get the name out for people that have to be coming in. And it's kind of hard to get signage on the highways. Number one, we're not open but 4 days a week, which kind of prevents us from getting any state signage. We just don't have the volunteers to be open the required hours. And I think that's pretty much the same with all the museums in town from what I've talked to them. It's getting the volunteers is just really difficult. So if we can't advertise out on, further out on the highway, then probably the best maybe we can hope for is we get some advertising as people come into the city, and get them downtown and to our place and everywhere else.
It's a nice looking sign, and it's very worthwhile. But my concern is, I want to hear from the other commissioners too, is that we don't have a policy regarding that. Once we let one organization put a sign up, then every organization in town, we have to open it for that. And so, just having it, already I don't like the way the signs are lined up out there at the park. We talked about that before, but
There's a lot.
having
I made that I made that, that sketch there showing
Yeah, I saw that.
all
yeah.
those, and I didn't include the ones that are, that are north of the VA entrance. So
Yeah. But if we were to look at policy, I think it would have to be something that would be all-inclusive and something where we don't have staggering signs going down the highway.
I think what disqualifies that particular sign is the wordage of ride and tours, doesn't it? If those words weren't on there, and if it was home of the 1913 carousel, or see the 1913 carousel, and eliminate ride and tours, it would qualify.
It would be valid under the development regulations, but it still wouldn't be covered under the sign recognition policy.
If it said home of C.W. Parker,
Right. You're
that would
getting
be
into-
different.
Right.
That would be different.
Yeah, that's what I suggested.
but the name recognition isn't there.
I mean, so
For
it would
just
be
him.
home of Fred Harvey. William Voorhees, home of all of these people, but
Mr. Kramer, we have a sign committee, do we not? Or do we don't have a sign committee? Where would this go for?
The city commission adopts the sign recognition policy.
Okay.
So any changes to that would come through the city commission.
well, we can't make a decision tonight here.
Yeah, you want to put it on a study?
My suggestion, well, let's see what your suggestion is, but put it on a study session and look at the policy, look at the,
Sure, we can do a little research to see what's done as far as, besides community members, which is specifically spelled out in our current policy, to highlight other types of attractions or signs. You're really getting into some advertising, and that's kind of what I think you want to steer clear from, so.
and I don't see Christy Lee here tonight, but I think the Convention Visitors Bureau should be involved in this as well.
Mr. Baker, you see our dilemma here a little bit. That
I
we
understand,
are
and I knew.
not quite
I knew
hamstrung
that-
by our regulations,
Kind
but,
of knew that coming on, but we have to start somewhere, so
Yeah.
we'll start here. and-
well,
Yeah.
with the attendance rates, the number of people you have already there and not enough volunteers, I don't think advertising is your problem. Your problem is getting workers. I mean, you've got, you've increased your visitors since 2005 by 50%. You're at over, 22,000, 23,000 a year. Advertising is not your issue.
We can
It's
handle more,
getting-
we can
it's-
handle more though.
yeah, you got plenty of demand, you just need more supply.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, but you understand what we're up against right now.
Well, I knew, I understood that, and I knew from walking out there and looking at all of them, I know that they're named people.
Correct.
And, but, like I said, we had to start somewhere, and
Sure.
we made this for something else, and we thought, well, let's just start here and just, get to see what we can do, and I was talking to Paula, there's several signs up there already that have got the post in the ground that would fit our sign, and I didn't know whether they could just be tacked onto that, if it, once we get it to, what you want, or whether the people that already have the top sign, whether they control what goes below them, or whether we have to put a new sign out. I didn't really know how all that works either. So basically, I'm trying to, come up with some guidance, and we can redesign the sign to say whatever will fall within the guidelines. But we did kind of want to mention that there are rides available, because that is it's one thing just to look at a picture of one, but to actually ride. And that's when we have these groups in, most of them are retired people, and, they haven't ridden a carousel in probably 60 to 70 years. And they just light up. Yeah. That's why we kind of wanted to publicize that you can ride it, it's just not a static display to look at, and that's why we put that on there.
I understand.
Or maybe we could put it in smaller type or something.
So we have car crashes while people get try.
That's why I wanted to get it on south of the curve there, so that wouldn't cause any wrecks.
Okay. So,
We can put it on a study session and work with the Parker and CVB and some other staff and come up with something for you.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Next item on the agenda, Mayor's appointment to Convention and Tourism Committee. Speaking of which, I move to recommend the following appointments to the Convention and Tourism Committee. Appoint Carolyn Kelly to an unexpired term ending January 31, 2018. Appoint Michael Watson to an unexpired term ending January 31, 2019. And appoint George Marchek to an unexpired term ending January 31, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Dedeky.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, consider massage establishment license at 2920 South 4th.
Carla?
Yes, Mayor and Commissioner, this is a request for a massage establishment license for Oriental Massage. This is located at 2920 South 4th Street. This is that building kind of between Applebee's and the China Buffet. There's an existing massage establishment at that location called Oriental Massage. It's just changing ownership. So when they change ownership, it's required that they go through a new licensing process. So this is before you, and it was approved by the commission last November when it first opened. So it has been approved by the police department and the sanitation officer. They've both inspected it and taken a look at it. So it would just be for the commission at this point to approve that license.
Okay. Any discussion on this or questions?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the massage establishment license at 2920 South 4th Street, Suite A.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Rainey.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Item number 6, consider request to add properties to NRA, Neighborhood Revitalization.
City Planner Julie Hurley will handle this item.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. In January of this year, the commission approved the renewal of our neighborhood revitalization area, which is a tax rebate area, basically from Metropolitan down to Spruce and Esplanade over to 10th Street. It encompassed that whole area with the exclusion of 2 existing TIF areas, so we weren't doubling up on incentives for properties. Earlier this spring, the Greenemeyers had approached us about removing some of their properties downtown from the TIF area that exists and putting them in the NRA area to be a little bit more of a positive influence for redeveloping those properties. The commission did vote earlier in July to go ahead and remove those from the TIF area. So this is really just amending the legal description of the NRA area to include those properties. It's a total of 7 properties. The addresses are in the packet along with the legal descriptions. We've got an existing interlocal agreement with the school district and the county for the NRA area, and they have been notified that these properties are being added to it, and we haven't received any comment from them. So if you have any questions, I can answer those for you.
Any questions? Julie?
No.
If not, do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the request to add the properties to the NRA as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Dedeky.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, dangerous structures, review and assessment.
Madam Mayor and Commission, I'm going to let Julie go through these here in a second. I did want to just make one quick note that you'll see only 10 structures on this. The reason that there's only 10, our list is actually longer than that, but this is all we have funding for right now. More funding will become available at the new fiscal year, but we didn't want to wait that long, so we picked essentially the 10 most egregious violations of blight. So that's why you'll see 10 tonight.
All right, thanks, Madam Mayor. As Paul said, this is our list for 2017. We do have some more on the list. These are, again, just the ones that we felt the most pressing issue and the biggest concern with blight. We've got, again, 10 on the list tonight. I'm just going to go through them real quick. You've seen the pictures in your packet. Once the commission has consensus to move forward with these 10 right now, then staff will go ahead and start our process of ordering the title work and going through the steps that we need to go through in order to get these down. So this is just the first time that you'll see them. You'll see them back a couple of times before they actually come down. The first one that we've got is at 1015 North 14th Street. This is just a detached garage. The house will be staying. The second one is 1214 Potawatomi Street. This is a one-story, single-family house.
Is anybody living there now?
No, all of these, the houses are unoccupied. The properties that are just a garage only, maybe do have someone living in the home, but the houses, we don't
Okay.
consider any properties that are currently occupied.
I used to know who was in this, I think she passed away, so.
The next one is 116 Ottawa. It's again a single story, single family house. Next is 119 to 121 Kickapoo. It's a two-story multifamily structure. And all of these we have had a number of code violations on over the past several years, so we do take a look at that as we're going through our list. Next one is 913 Pawnee. This is a garage only. The next one is a freestanding garage at 715, 717 6th Avenue. Next one is 800 Miami. It's a two-story single-family home and an associated detached shed with it. Next one is 1609 Lawrence. This one had been a fire damage structure that we didn't get any insurance money from, and so this one still needs to come down. Next one is 1921 Fifth Avenue. It's a two-story single-family house. And the final one is 2608 South 4th Street. It's a single-story, single-family house.
Julie, we send certified letters to all the registered property owners.
We haven't yet. We wait until we have our first review. Any violations they've had, they've received their certified. So once we review this tonight, this week, we'll go ahead and start getting out those notifications. And that is our list for now. If you have any that you would like to take off and have us consider something else, as Paul said, these are the ones that we reasonably feel we can get down with the funds we have right now. We've got about $54,000 to work with. And based on our past experiences, we've looked at some averages of our costs, and these are ones that we think we can get down with what we've got.
Okay.
Ms. Hurley, if we move on these in the normal procedure, what's the earliest or what's the expected date that these would be bulldozed?
City clerk and I looked at a timeline. I believe we'd be looking at October, but by the time we got the resolution passed, and so once we get that resolution passed, we can move pretty quickly on them. So I would say conservatively before Thanksgiving, so in the next several months.
I drove around this afternoon and went to all 10 of these properties. All of them are on this list deservedly. As I've said many times before, I feel sorry for the neighbors that have to live with this blight, this ugliness. Property owners that don't care about their property or their neighbor's property. And it just has to be removed. I'm sure we'll get a few owners come in here telling us some sad stories. These all have had multiple code violations. I don't know that I'll be amenable to hearing many sad stories on these. They need to come down. And there's a lot of, near some of these houses, there's other homes that need to come down too. Once again, abandoned, dilapidated homes. As I've said before, if we want to get some investment in different parts of the city, we've got to clean it up. And it comes upon us to remove these blighted properties from our city so that people have a better, investors come in and they see something that looks a little bit nicer, not something that looks like a war zone. So I'm definitely in favor of putting these on the list and getting moving as quickly as possible.
Is that a motion?
No, this is just a consensus, isn't it?
Well, there's a.
Oh, no,
For this.
it is a motion, and
For
so
review.
moved.
Just a- Okay. All right, well, that's been moved and seconded. Let's begin, go to it, Commissioner Rainey.
Aye.
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 I didn't ask if anybody else had any more comments, but that passed. I just have a question after the fact here. The houses, couple of houses there on Metropolitan, what's happening with them?
We do have a couple of those on the list that we were considering.
I wanted them.
And I know we've had, and all, all these houses are ones that we get complaints from neighbors on. I know that you get complaints about the ones in
Well,
Metropolitan, so.
it's just
10, 12.
It's just such a public street. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just such a big, I mean, that's an entrance to our town.
Right.
It just looks really, really bad, and the people haven't taken care of it for years, so.
Yeah, we don't have to wait until January to start the next process, but
Let's
we
not.
need to wait till
I
the
would like to
budget.
see-
We have to wait till the budget's passed
Okay.
because that's where the
Okay.
funding is. So once
I
that's
would-
officially
Yeah,
passed and
that'd be
submitted,
great.
then we can probably look at the next.
I would like to see the two houses in particular are there on Metropolitan, if possible.
If the commission would do something like have a bake sale, could we earmark all the money to go to go into this fund to get more money in it?
You
Could
must be a good baker.
Fundraiser. Well, these look really bad, so I know
Yeah.
they need to be,
And there's plenty of others that are right at this threshold too.
okay. We've moved on that, so let's go ahead and move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, bids, contracts, and agreements. Consider bids for Lakeview Pleasant Avenue Drainage Project.
Mike McDonald will handle this item.
Thank you, sir. Madam Mayor and Commissioners, this is a recommendation from staff to award bids for the drainage project at Pleasant Avenue, or on Lakeview near Pleasant Avenue to Lana Weaver Construction. This is an area that was brought to our attention a few years ago about drainage problems getting progressively worse. Investigation by staff found that the corrugated metal piping had deteriorated and had collapsed, and it could not be patched back together. Ultimately, that led us to recommending a replacement project. During the course of design, we found that replacement was more complicated in that this was designed in a different time with different standards, and to meet today's expectations, it needed to be larger than was originally estimated, and the commission approved funding that we have today to complete the project. They will be replacing, I believe it's a 48-inch pipe with a 60-inch pipe for the most important parts of the project and several other drainage structures. It is, I think, one of the projects we showed the commission on our discussion of stormwater utilities, the typical metal pipe, that time frame. Staff is confident in the bids we received and the contractor, Lana Weaver, who we worked with on many other projects, and do recommend that the City Commission approve the bid from Lana Weaver for $90,065. We expect that they would seek to begin the project prior to the end of August, and it's a 30-day construction time frame.
Okay. Any comments or questions? If not, do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the bid for the Lakeview Pleasant Avenue Drainage Project in the amount of $90,065.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Dedeky.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, first consideration ordinances. Number 9, first consideration ordinance demolition assessments.
If our Deputy City Clerk, Carrie Collins, will handle this item.
Thank you, Paul. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, this is an ordinance levying special assessments for the city's cost to demolish certain structures. The properties listed below were approved by the City Commission for demolition. Our Chapter 22 of the Code of Ordinances provides the tools for staff to demolish structures. This ordinance also provides for the collection of costs incurred by the city as indicated below. So we sent the certified letters. We have all of that with the resolution.
The ordinance being presented provides for the assessment of the demolition costs. The owners of the properties have been billed for the charges, with notification also mailed to lending institutions if applicable. The property owners will have until 5 p.m. on August 8th to compensate the city for the incurred cost. Liens have already been placed on the properties for the amount of the demolition cost, and staff recommends that the ordinance be placed on first consideration.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this?
Based on your experience, we have $61,000 in demolition costs. What do you think we'll get recouped by August 8th? Just, I know it's a wild guess, but
You know, we have,
Is it zero?
we have had
Absolutely
people
nothing.
come in before it
good.
goes to the taxes and pay. Doesn't happen a lot, we don't get a lot of them, but it has happened.
can't happen, okay.
Yeah.
Good, so it's not zero.
But
And
it's
we have
slim,
had a
but
few
it's
paid
slim.
And we've had a few paid from, since the resolution, that were not added, that had
Okay.
been, received notices. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, do I have a motion? Oh, this is consensus, okay. Is there a consensus to move forward with this? Yes. Thank you very much. Next item, first consideration ordinance nuisance assessments.
Carrie again?
This is to consider an ordinance levying special assessments to pay the city's lot clearing costs and administrative fees. Chapter 118 of Article 5 of our Code of Ordinances provides the tools for city staff to cut vegetation and weeds. It also provides for the collection of costs incurred by the city. This is about $113,000. You'll see on attachment A, that's what the total is. The ordinance being presented provides for the assessment of such cost. The owners of the properties listed in attachment A is a consolidated list from July 1 of 16 to June 30th of 2017, and they've been billed for the charges and have been given 30 days, or will be given 30 days for those that are up till June 30th, in which to compensate the city. In many cases, more than one mowing was required at the properties, and the staff's recommendation is to place this ordinance on first consideration.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this?
Ms. Collins, I looked through this and I counted, there are 40 property owners here, or 40 properties out of the, how many are there, 160 or I don't know, however many there are. 40
Yes.
of them over $1,000.
Yes.
I mean, it's just amazing. And we have a couple development companies that seem to be recurring. I don't know if there's things that we can do at some point to, I don't know, there's no licensing or anything that we can put the hammer on these folks a little bit more. So I guess my other question is, if we do, this is consensus, but if we approve it the next time, will this immediately be a tax lien so that when people possibly buy some of these properties in October, November, if they should, then they will notice that that's it. They won't be surprised to come up and say, oh my gosh, I bought it, I didn't know it, now I owe $2,500 in mowing charges.
Yeah.
That they know it's part of the deal.
We've already put tax liens on the properties that we mowed from July 1st last year through December, through that mowing season. So those liens are already on the properties. We do that just to make sure if there is a change in ownership, that people are aware of that before it changes hands. And then the ones that are this mowing season will go on when we take this over to the county clerk to have assessed to the taxes, and then it'll go on the tax statements. We do get a fair amount that when it goes to their property taxes, they're paid in December, and when they make their 2 payments each year. So, we do collect that. But yes, to answer your basic question, we do put tax liens on so that they're aware of it.
Okay.
And once it goes on the specials, then the property owner is responsible for the filing fees with the register of deeds.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, is there a consensus to move on?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Next item, first consideration charter ordinance, repeal charter ordinance number 4.
Madam Mayor and Commission, at the last study session, we went over a series of ordinances and in one charter ordinance that will come before you as part of the streamlining of the personnel, hiring and recruiting, and the elimination of the Civil Service Commission. This is the first action in the item. This is a charter ordinance, so it does require consensus of 4 city commissioners to move forward.
Okay. Any questions on this, since we've seen all of this before? If not, is there a consensus to move forward with
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, present the claims for July 8th, 2017 through July 21st, 2017 in the amount of $1,221,733.11. Net amount for pay number 15 effective July 21st, 2017 in the amount of $344,993.80. Fire and police pension is $11,401.34.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Dedekin.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Any other items? Yes.
If the commission doesn't have
Oh,
anything.
go ahead.
I just wanted to share something with the commission. About a month ago, the city of Leavenworth was selected as one of just a few communities, essentially west of Topeka in the state of Kansas, to respond to a proposal to bring a corporate headquarters to the state of Kansas. This is a 500 job type association or organization with a payroll of over $60 million. And the reason I wanted to bring this up tonight is this is a game that we haven't been able to play in for 10 or 20 years. We haven't had a suitable piece of property. We haven't had the interest from site locators who are very discerning on where they go. And the site locator specifically mentioned us to the organization that gave us this lead. So the city worked with Steve Jack. And today, we submitted a 20-page proposal for this business. Now, is there a 1 in 10 chance that we're going to get it? I don't know, 1 in 20. But I thought it was important to bring up the fact that we were asked to, and we were able to submit a proposal for this. So it'd be a game-changer project. You know how these things go, you never know. But I think the fact that we were able to respond to the proposal says a lot about the direction that we're going and what the business and technology park's going to do for our community. So just wanted to let the commission know that we are getting a lot of interest in that business park, and we'll continue to market it and submit it for proposals.
And I agree with you. I don't think 5 to 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to respond to it.
All right.
We're good. We're good. So that's good news.
Thank you. The only thing, next Tuesday is Election Day, and I just wanted to encourage people to get out and vote. Our local election is nonpartisan. We work for our community, and I know that sometimes the elections have a low turnout, and I hope people get out and vote. You can vote early in the courthouse right now, up until Monday through Friday, up until the election. And then the election is on the 1st, so please get out and vote. Thank you. Anything else?
No.
If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting with Commissioner Rainey.
Aye.
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 We are adjourned.